Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 572 of the DrunkNerds podcast. As always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Man, there's been a lot of things that have been going on over this past week, including today. We had our fantasy football draft
I had
stuff
three
for
today.
both. You had three.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know the one with the talking ship guys and the one that I created, but you actually had another one. Wow, that's
Yeah. I didn't know I had it
pretty
until I
sweet.
got the email about my league, about my draft results. So I'm like, oh, okay.
What are you doing? Like another Moneyball league or something?
Yeah,
What?
just a work one. So,
Okay. So there's a work one too.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm actually kind of happy about that in terms of what I did for the Talking Ship one. Like opening things were pretty good, and like the other one and stuff that we got done around like God, I think it was like about 7:30 or close to like 7:45 or something once that initial drafting was over. But yeah, I was highly happy about that because a lot of good players, a lot of good sleepers and everything. But other than that, though, the other good things going on this week. Well, it's definitely like that whole lull and stuff before Labor Day weekend. So workplace was sort of quiet in some aspects and stuff. But speaking of my workplace, I did get a new pickup this past week. And the new pickup is actually what I'm sitting in right now.
Oh, look at that.
So at my workplace, we had a office chair that was donated to us. There was a couple of them, but this one, yeah, it's got some scratches. It's got some stuff, but it's a lazy boy office manager chair. So it's like
Nice.
it feels good. The bottom portion of my back feels great, and
Got that
it's
lumbar
a hell
support.
of a lot better. It's definitely a hell of a lot better than sitting on the metal chair with a pad on it that I had been doing for the past couple of months now.
Yeah. I like that stage where you were sitting in that chair backwards for a little bit, though.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
I was waiting for you to like really like connect with the children and tell them how not to drink and drive.
That 90s PSA moment and stuff for Colonel.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh. Other than that though, I did end up buying another game. I didn't invest inside of anything with Starfield right now. I decided to wait until it drops on the 6th on Game Pass because I wanted to pick up my copy of Armor Core 6.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was actually playing some bit of that today, but I won't go into much detail about it until what we've been playing. But let's just say that week was chill, fun stuff for fantasy football stuff. Most importantly of all, man, it's Labor Day weekend. It's that 3 day sort of stint and stuff to where things are starting to become chill before the fall season begins. And most importantly of all, football season starting
Yeah.
fairly soon.
Yeah. It is the we're heading to the stretch of like the 4 or 5 week stretch where it's actually not miserable to live in Iowa for me. So that's pretty nice. We're like, oh, it's gonna football starting. It's gonna get nice. We're getting close to hoodie weather, which I love. For it's not hot.
Yeah,
It's not cold either. It's a little chill, and it's nice. We got the pumpkin scented candles out. It's one of my favorite smells in the world. Yeah, Thursday we got NFL back. Yesterday college is
mm,
back. It's a beautiful thing, Gables. Beautiful time we live in. Most
dude.
wonderful time of the year.
Dude, speaking of college football weather and college football in general, saw a funny picture on Facebook before we started recording and stuff, and it had to do with the Oregon Ducks. They're blowing out of Oregon State and stuff like
Yeah,
81 to something.
81 is
And then the
three.
mascot, the mascot actually ended up doing like 546 push-ups
Yeah,
in that
I think he has
freaking
to
game.
do a. I can't remember what it is, but it's like he's got to do. I think he's got to do. Basically for every time he does a touch, like they get a touchdown, he has to do like I think 7 push-ups or like something like that. I can't remember what it is. Or yeah, there's yeah, but yeah, he do. I guess that math doesn't make sense. But like yeah, he had to do a crazy amount of push-ups. Um, the good and bad of college football, where they let top 10 Division 1 schools face bottom of the barrel Division 2 teams. Uh,
Oh yeah,
those
yeah. It's the true fire sign that the college season has began and stuff when you have the most established teams that trash the lower end teams to try to
yeah,
get their seasons all kicking out, looking all nice and neat.
yeah.
But yeah, man, how have you been doing, Tyler?
I'm doing all right, Gables. Clanging and banging as always. It is like I said, it's Labor Day weekend. Feels nice, feels good. Just watched an awesome all AEW All Out pay per view. buzzing off of that one. Finally feeling good. Last week I was in rough shape, drinking Starry on the podcast and water because I was super sick from the heat. And finally, after about a week, finally felt better. And last few days, doing better. Finally, was able to start drinking some beer. I haven't had a beer in a couple weeks, so that was good. I think I'm like an alcoholic or anything like that. I literally only drink when we do the podcast, but I do enjoy these beers when I do this podcast. I have 4 every week. That's what I have. That's my quota. But yeah, it feels good. I also was able to take off Tuesday from work, and then my day off on Wednesday. I actually, for the first time in 4 months, took my day off from work. So I
Oh,
actually have a
wow.
nice 5-day weekend, which worked out perfectly with Starfield coming out. I didn't
Yeah.
do this because of Starfield coming out. It just kind of happenstance worked out with like the whole, oh, you can pay the $30 if you have Game Pass. You can just pay $30 to get the game 5 days early. So it worked out where I was able to, oh, cool, I'm off for 5 days. Might as well just pay that $30 and play Starfield. So I've been playing some Starfield.
Right.
It's been pretty good. I'll talk about it a little more later when we get to what we've been playing. But yeah, otherwise, Gables, I'm doing pretty good, feeling pretty good. Like I said, enjoying the college football, getting ramped up for NFL, and just relaxing finally for the first time in uh, several months. Finally being able to just kind of relax and not do a goddamn thing. Hopefully for the next. I got 3 more days of this little vacation, and hopefully I can enjoy every goddamn minute of it. Cause
Mm.
yeah, it's nice. I've been kind of like crawling my way to this break here, so hoping to enjoy it. But Gables, we're not here to talk about what we've been doing, what's going on with us. We're here to talk about fucking video games. God damn it.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Yep.
you guys like video games, you like what we're doing here, you want to help support us out. We're just two guys like get together every week. And normally we record on Saturday night. Show goes up Sunday, but because of Labor Day weekend, we push it back a day to just kind of enjoy the Saturday, enjoying Saturday for once. And it was nice staying up late, playing some Starfield last night. But anyways, if you like all this, please like, follow, subscribe. Check us out wherever wherever podcasts are on. We're there. Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all those places. Please like, follow, subscribe. There are 5-star reviews, shares, tell your friends. There are links down in the description below with links to all of our all the services, whatever the fuck you want to say, that we're on. So, like I said, click on those things. Even if you don't, you watch us on YouTube, but you don't really use Apple or Spotify or anything like that, just go over there, give us a click, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, leave a 5-star review, download the podcast, give us a little bumps. We can use it. We can be nice, give some thumbs up, all that. But do that for us. But Gables,
Mm-hmm.
let's get into the news here. So start off here. There's been some rumors about a direct coming up. Well, we had a direct, but maybe not the one we all wanted. But we got a
Mm.
direct all together. So start off here, Gables. We got a Super Mario Brothers Wonder direct, about 15 minutes, breaking down everything that's going on with that game, kind of the differences going on. So, kind of some of the main stuff here is like this one takes place in the Flower Kingdom. Uh,
Mm.
like Bowser touches the castle and like takes some drugs, and now he is a castle. Um, they said there's 6 worlds in this game. I imagine there'll be more, like like there are in every other game. There's like the harder ones. Um, but yeah, like they have some new power ups in there. They have like they have a god damn it, I scrolled and I lost it. We'll get back to it. But they did say there are 8 playable characters. Yeah, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy for the first time ever. There are 2 different Toads, but they play the same. The kind of big difference there is Daisy, because first time ever they can play as Daisy in a Mario game. They did say though that none of the players will have different abilities. So like Luigi doesn't have the high jump. Uh, Peach doesn't have like the float that she does. But they did say like Yoshi and Nabbit are the other 2 playable characters, and they are basically like the super baby mode type of thing where they don't take damage. And then like Yoshi does have the flutter jump, and he can actually eat objects and like or spin them back to them. Or you can also like if you're playing multiplayer, you can actually jump on that Yoshi's back. And if you're playing as 2 Yoshis, you can jump on the other Yoshi. You can jump on the other Yoshi's back. Um, so they have that kind of like we see Nabbit with when they did the port for New Super Mario Brothers Wii U to the Switch, where they brought Nabbit into
Yes.
that, and like he was basically just like unstoppable. They can die though if they like you fall to your death or like you hit lava. Like that's the only way you can die. The talking flowers was kind of teased in the last game or the last when they initially revealed it. it's just the flowers talk to you. It's pretty fucked up. Gables. They show off a bunch of new power ups here. Like they tease the elephant Mario, and now they show us more abilities. Like now they showed off all the other all the other characters that when they turn into an elephant. Like kind of cool. They all have like little. They all kind of look a little different. They have new abilities, or you can actually with the elephant, you can actually like store water in their trunk, and you can use it uh, to like to attack enemies or stuff like that, break blocks, whatever. You can do with that one. I believe Elephant Mario, Elephant whatever character can also like charge and break through blocks too. And but they have like the bubble and the drill powers are revealed. Like the drill, you can actually like drill into the ground. You can like or like even in the ceiling, and like you can use like go through areas. Sometimes you can help find
Right.
secrets. They have the bubble that will actually you can shoot out and you can jump on them and like help give you a boost up to higher areas, or you can actually like it'll actually like um, hit other enemies and put them in a bubble as well. A few other abilities like that on top of it. They have the Wonder Flower, which is like you hit that, it'll change the levels. Like sometimes you start floating, or like your character is now running on the wall, stuff like that. And you have to find another Wonder Flower to then um, like stop that ability. They also announced like the badges, where there's like kind of like a perk system where like you can pick one badge. You unlock badges as you go. There's like sometimes you have to like, do certain things to unlock these badges, but you can use badges to like change the way you play. Like some of them, like you have I think one's called the safety bounce, where like if you hit the lava once, you can hit the lava once without dying, and like you'll jump back up to like your um, onto like the stage and you're fine. You have a coin magnet which will pull the coins towards you. You have the jet run that will like it just turns to a runner level, and like your character will just run without stopping. They did announce four-player co-op will be there, which we already kind of knew there. There is an online mode, but it's like basically like ghost mode essentially, where like I don't think you can play like the main game with friends. This is a part that I'm a little lost on, and maybe like I couldn't really find out for sure, but like I don't think you can actually just like you and me can just hop on a game online and play the game together. Like your ghost can follow
Hmm.
around. There's different modes. There's like the race mode, like you can race each other to like the end of levels. Um, there are yeah, so yeah, I'm just double checking. I'm reading an article here. Yeah, traditional online multiplayer was not revealed during the direct, so it hasn't been confirmed yet. Um, but there are like little mini games you can play together online with other people, and then if you join online servers, you can actually like see people running around and like they have like it's almost like Death Stranding in a way where like um, you can put like a post down and like if you die, you can go back to that post, and like other people can use those posts, and you can
Right.
use other people's posts. It's kind of like a checkpoint kind of thing, and like you get more points for people who use it, stuff like that. And last but not least, here they announced the OLED Switch. That's a Mario one. It's basically just Mario Red, the whole thing, even the dock itself. So pretty cool looking. I think that comes out October 6th, but it does not include the game or anything. You have to buy that separately. But yeah, a lot of information thrown out there, Gables. I'm kind of curious, like, how are you feeling? How excited are you? Did this make you more or less excited? Are you about the same from where you were than when they initially revealed it?
Honestly, I'm kind of like the same from when they initially revealed and stuff. I think this is going to be a fun, awesome Mario game that releases in October. I mean, granted, I didn't really need to see much more of it to be convinced that would want to play this, but at the same time, knowing the extent of what characters are going to be playable in the game, what type of features inside this game is going to make this a little bit more unique as opposed to other 2D Mario games. And on top of that, the gimmick with the whole like wonder seeds and stuff and how they just so much chaos that's involved instead of a kind of like a structured sort of level design. It's fairly fascinating. I mean, at one point inside of this direct, you see like Mario actually walking on the backgrounds
Yeah, that
going
was
from like
awesome.
that.
Yeah,
That was actually pretty funny. Just looking at that sort of top-down perspective and stuff from something that's kind of traditional and stuff, but just breaking barriers in regards to what could potentially be done inside of a 2D Mario game. But yeah, as far as playable characters, that's fine and stuff. I mean, if they wanted a couple different characters to choose from that have like newer players set in mind, with Nabbit or the different Yoshi, pick whatever color you want and stuff, or even some of the other characters that like with Toad and like with Toadette and stuff. But at the same time, it's basically the type of characters that most people have wanted to play inside of like a regular Mario game. with the exception maybe like a few, maybe like a Donkey Kong or like a Rosalina or whatsoever, some,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's mostly the type of characters you would expect. As a matter of fact, it's just surprising that Daisy has been playable in the Mario game, like a mainline Mario game, ever since of her inception, like on
Yeah.
the N64.
Just been sports games. Yeah.
but yeah, or sports games itself. But even so, Super Mario Wonder looks like is just going to be a like a fairly fun, enjoyable experience. And that's what I'm most looking forward to playing next month.
Yep. Oh God, that's you're right. Next month. It is next month. That's crazy. We're in September now.
Hmm.
It's fucking wild. Um, yeah, I'm about the same with you. Like I didn't like I talked about it a while ago. Like I did the voucher system like in June I
Hmm.
think. Whenever they or July, whenever they revealed it. Like I did the voucher system and I bought a RPG Mario RPG and
Hmm.
Mario Wonder pretty much immediately. So like I was already in. And I've been pretty open and honest about the fact that I'm like never been like grown up a huge Mario fan. Like I've definitely I was like I grew up like my fandom for Mario was like I was a Game Boy guy growing up and like a DS guy,
Uh-huh.
really for the most part until really like the Wii U of all things. Was like the big thing. Like oh okay, like like I had the Wii. I fell off that really quickly, um, but like really the last like decade or so was like really changed that for me. As a gamer for Nintendo and like my love for like Mario has been like sports games and like Mario Land, so of all things and yeah, so like this the I played the new Super Mario Brothers. I beat the first one they did on DS. I didn't really care for the one on 3DS.
Right.
The Wii one, I only ever played that at friend's house. I never owned it. I only ever played at friend's house. And it's like doing the multiplayer thing is like fun in theory, and then after about an hour, you hate everybody. You hate all your friends. Um, so
Yeah.
and like I played the one I played the one that was on Wii U, the launch one on Wii U
Yes.
initially, and I thought about like it wasn't a bad game, but it's like I think I always say about Nintendo was like even like a bad Nintendo game for the most part is like usually a 7. Um,
Normally, yeah. Still kind of
yeah,
enjoyable at its
yeah,
core.
less except for Codename Steam, that game was trash. Um, but yeah, like and it was a 7 out of 10 Mario game. I'm not gonna say it's a 7 out of 10 like game in general, but I just didn't really care for it. I fell off after like 2 worlds. It was fine, and yeah, like I think that's the same way for a lot of people, where it's like kind of the art style, the gameplay, like all that. Like I look at this though, like I really feel like the gameplay is much different. Like as far as like it looks very similar to that. Like you can only change a 2D Mario so much, but it's really the style of everything else that is really what's drawing me in. I think that's gonna be the major difference. Is like we like really in the end like we wanted something like new from Mario as much as you can make a new 2D Mario. Um, and this is it right here. It's like and I talked about this a little while ago where like that this isn't the main 2D Mario team. This is like a younger team that did this one for the most part. And this is kind of what they came up with. And it's kind of like I'm not trying to compare this to Breath of the Wild here, but like it's kind of the same thing you heard about like Zelda Breath of the Wild, where it's like they really let a lot of younger people on staff work on that, and like that's where we got Breath of the Wild came from. A lot of the ideas and everything kind of came together from, the younger people on staff, and with new fresh ideas, stuff like that, and just have a lot of new blood in there. And I think this is what that is. And, like it's pretty awesome that like with everything going on here. I think um, the like just the talking flowers. It's so non Nintendo in a lot of ways what they're doing here. In ways where it's like you don't expect them to do this some of the stuff here like just like the voice acting in general and like just the voice of the flowers is fucking hilarious where it's just like just sounds like a dude. There's like no like there's nothing like fantasy about it. It's not like Peach is like just sounds like a generic damsel in distress, or like it's like Luigi and Mario just like some some Italian dudes.
It just
um
sounds like some sort of person's like out of body experience or something like that, like a drug trip out or something, to where all of a sudden flowers are talking to him.
yeah, it literally sounds like something you would expect out of like a 90s teen comedy when one of the guys is like one of the dudes on the couch is like tripping balls. um and yeah, I think the style like is there. I think like the badges is kind of a cool idea. Like there's
Yeah,
also like looks like there's difficulty modes. Like little things too, where like you can just like after you beat a level, you don't have to walk back to it. You can just like bring up like all the levels on a map, or like all the levels up on the screen. You can just
well,
pick and go
yeah.
right to them. What's interesting is like now you don't have to like beat them in order. When you get to a new world, you can beat them in any order you want to, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is. It's really interesting that they go that route and stuff since we're so used to traditionally, okay, we got to beat World 1, then we can go to either World 2 or something, but they have been sort of hinting to like an extent to an extent of being able to choose which type of worlds you want to go and experience
I
first.
I believe the worlds you have to play in order, but like it's
Oh.
not you don't have to do 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. You
Oh,
can just
okay.
do and you once you get to a world, you can just do all those in any order. I believe I
Right.
could be wrong, but I don't think you can just like well yeah no because like you have to collect a certain amount of wonder seeds to unlock the next area and
Right,
unlock certain
right.
levels. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that idea. This is kind of I'm for me personally like someone that's not like a hardcore Mario fan, like 2D Mario fan, like I was kind of open for like really anything here from them, and so far what I'm seeing, I'm liking it. And yeah, it's just a matter of like how good of can this game be? How much can they nail the style? And I'm definitely looking forward to on Extra Life Gables, you and me hopping online
Oh
and
yeah.
trying to dick around a little bit here. I'm curious how deep this online stuff goes because we've been fooled in the past about Nintendo and their online capabilities
Yes.
and like what the features there. And I'm wondering how like deep this shit's actually gonna go to it. So I'm gonna try to be hopeful. I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop there, but I wasn't even expecting like the way they were talking about it, and like they only ever mentioned a local co-op. So I was kind of surprised they even had that. But I'm kind of disappointed that like it doesn't sound like we're gonna have actual like a full you and me can't just play the game through together. But
Mm.
I'll wait to see. I imagine we'll hear more from them later um, about that game. There'll be more stuff, and well, at the very least, we'll find out October 20th. And um, moving on here, Gables. So moving on over to PlayStation here. We had an announcement here that PS Plus will be getting an increase on September 6th. So that is it is for me it is the 4th. It's 12:30 in the morning here, so it's the 4th for Gables. It's the 3rd.
Yeah.
But September 6th, though, on Wednesday, just drop that in on the same day Starfield comes out. Um, there'll be a price increase on PS Plus Essential Plan, which is the basic plan, goes from 60 to 80. There are monthly plans as well on top if for people that want to do that, but I don't have the prices on hand for that. Extra plan, which is that middle tier, it goes from 100 to $135, and then the premium plan goes from 120 to 160. Like I said, that was going to effect on the 6th. Um, Gibbs, I don't have a lot to say on this one. Um, like, there's not. I don't know what to say because it's like I am extremely frustrated by this. You know, like there's no defending this. Um, and I get like it's so annoying when it's like people are like, ooh, it's capitalism. I fucking know how capitalism works. I'm so sick of like when like you complain about any little tiny thing. People's like, oh well, it's capitalism. People, you're gonna pay for it, right? Well, that's what they're gonna do. Like I know that. We know that. I'm fucking aware. I understand. You know how price gouging and capitalism work, all that bullshit, and like things are only worth as much people are willing to pay. I get all that. It's so fucking annoying when people try to explain that shit to you. Doesn't mean I cannot be frustrated by this.
Yes, because it
Um,
is completely frustrating, not just from a consumer point of view and stuff, but it's frustrating this past year that we have increases to now both the Xbox like Game Pass service and stuff, and now the whole PlayStation Plus subscription stuff. The PlayStation Plus subscription stuff hurts the most too in some regards because it's like it's not just like maybe $5 here or $5 there tacked onto everything, but no, in specific tiers is either anywhere between 20 to like about almost like fucking 50
40
something dollars
$40.
depending $40, yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
depending upon what type of plan that you select and stuff. There's no defending this. Absolutely. The increases in terms of the cost for these online subscription stuff is getting borderline ridiculous. I mean, in aspect, yeah, we kind of figured that sooner or later they were going to be that these companies like both Microsoft, both Sony and stuff, maybe sometime, maybe Nintendo will follow suit, who knows.
Oh
But
God.
that's something you can't keep that's something you have to keep in mind too because if Nintendo does decide to add on more stuff to it, they'll increase their prices as well.
Or even if they don't add any, like they're not adding anything to this one. There's
Yeah.
no like usually when there's a price increase, like there's like there's like a spin. We're like, hey, we're adding this,
Right,
and
right.
there's no spin here. It's like, hey, we're doing this, and like they're announcing this like when they're like, hey, they're giving us Saints Row. Thanks, uh, for giving us a 65 out of 100 with on the same day this goes through.
Right,
Um,
right. I know. Yeah, I understand that. That's just a good example of like what could potentially go through and like happen in that regards. But yeah, I really don't like the Sony one at all, only because of how much is actually being increased upon. I mean, granted, you can debate like what the value is for like their PlayStation Plus Extra or like even like the premium version, like how much content you're really getting out of this stuff. But if you're just a casual person looking in and stuff and you want to play online for your system and stuff, an $80 minimum is fairly steep
yeah,
just
it's
in order to
more than
play
a
a
game.
basic online. It's more than the cost of a regular game. Whereas before, $60 a year, okay, you get PlayStation Plus, you get the free games, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. I mean, granted, it's like give or take what are going to be good, what are going to be not. I mean, but yeah, I could say that not just that, but also for even an example for like Microsoft for like with Game Pass or even their online stuff as well, is there's definitely like the increase to cost for both sides and stuff is just getting to the point for a lot of like maybe casual consumers looking in and stuff. It's like double checking. It's like I'm already paying this for subscription stuff. I mean, do I really need PlayStation Plus if I have a PC and I can play online for free, or if I have this other system or this thing? But at the end of the day, we understand that yeah, these price increases are terrible. At the same time, each individual gamer is going to have to look inside and do it's basically decide for themselves. Hey, is this the initial value worth this actual increase here, or are you just going to stay with the base value, even though and still invest into it despite us just completely hating it? I know, for example, for me and stuff, I mean, I was already paying for the middle tier anyway for like the PlayStation Plus Extra, so playing games like with Stray or like maybe trying out Humanity or something, or trying out Chia or whatever the hell. But now with this
Sea of
increase in
Stars.
mind, oh yeah, CS Stars too if I choose to, even though I got to download it on Game Pass here on the
Yeah,
Xbox. But the point being is, it's like I can only say an example of what would work for me even under like the new increase and stuff, it's still $80 a year is definitely a higher increase for like the base value and stuff. But compared to what I was initially doing with the middle tier, I was already paying like 100 something like that for the entire year in general. So yeah, even though it's going to be lower for me, for anyone else that's looking in and stuff, if you're investing inside of a PS5 and you know for a fact you got to spend another $80 on top just to have basic online stuff, I mean that's definitely a detractor, and it definitely is sort of like a thinking moment too. But yeah, it's like I really don't see too much of like a solution to this unless people vote with their wallet and somehow this goes down as like a big black eye for Sony or something and they lose revenue as a result. But at the same point, I don't really see this really being a detriment like for Sony really at all, because people will invest into it.
yeah. I mean,
Even for
because
like a year at $80, they would still
yeah,
do it.
I
Some,
mean, because they don't really give you an option at this point with
yeah, they're
on the
they're not.
consoles. Yeah, because I mean, you look at it now where it's like most games nowadays require online to play. Like some of the biggest games this year, you can't play without being online. Like Diablo 4. If you want to play single player, you have to be online. For me, like I play hundreds of hours every year of Madden. I literally can't play Madden. I can count on one hand how many games I played online against another person in the last decade, and I
Hmm.
can't play. I just do franchise. I can't play my franchise mode without being online. It's like I don't use the party chat for the most part. Really, Gables and I for the most like pretty much is extra life, and then maybe a couple other
Yeah,
times outside of the year. We get the free stuff, but like I don't really ever use it. But like I said, but I'm the type of person that like if there's a game I'm really excited for, most of the time I just play it at launch or near
yeah,
launch.
exactly. And even for
Um,
people, even well, for party chat in general and stuff, yeah, we use the chat feature maybe like once or twice a year, get bear take whatever gamer night stuff that we do with friends, or like if we're doing extra life or something.
yeah,
But for many gamers just looking in and stuff, if let's say if you're like graduating from high school for the first time, like say if you're 18, 19 years old or something, you really want to get into gaming or something like that, or you want to expand stuff and you see these systems and stuff, and you're trying to weigh your options of what would be the best bang for your buck. if it were, say, personally me, if I wasn't investing in any of these ecosystems, I probably would be predominantly PC because of not just saving costs for like in terms of playing games for online stuff, but probably because hey, if I even get into a Game Pass, I could still play it on my PC. I could still go through
Yeah,
and buy certain PlayStation games on Steam. Granted, they're like maybe a year or two removed from being on there, but yeah, I could really see with people just buttoning down with their budget stuff that I could see plenty of people just like saying no to maybe buying a PS5 or maybe no to buying an Xbox Series system because they could predominantly just play what is available on the PC, invest some time and money into upgrading their own rig or something like that. Maybe having like what people do right now, have like a portable Switch, have a Switch or have a Steam Deck or whatever the hell,
yeah,
and just go for it from there. But overall, I think you and I could just both agree this just completely just blows.
yeah. Like I have the premium plan right now, but it's only because I upgraded Essential because it was like $30 to upgrade when they brought the new plans in. And then like they had a sale going on where it was like discounted to upgrade, so I upgraded for like $12 to premium, and I've never used premium once. Like it's a for me like it's like more so if you want to play the classic games like PS2, PS3, Extreme PS3, PS2, PS1
Yes.
games. Essential is really like I think Essential is actually the better plan,
Hmm.
um, of the two. It's like it's weird to me they didn't swap them. Um, because that's the more of the modern day stuff. And like I said, it's definitely it's every gamer is different. Like if you're
Yes,
someone that's like
exactly.
you're not playing games at launch, and you're like just like most gamers, most people that we know that I talk to, it's like they're playing games that like came out for the first time. They're like I hear them talking about, oh, this game's awesome. It came out like 3 years ago. It's like like but I mean, this is probably sometimes we're in a bubble with the and like it's so easy to be in a bubble with like that's why I was talking about like I always like to read the NPDs, Circana, whatever you want to call them now,
Yeah.
because I like seeing like kind of what's going on in like outside world of gaming, like outside of our bubble. You get into where it's like most people don't play games at launch, um, and like yeah, like essentially, I would if you told me like if you're a gamer that's just jumping in this generation and you haven't played, you missed the last 5 years of gaming. Do I go
Hmm.
into the PlayStation Essential, or do I go into Game Pass? I would almost say Essential because the list of games on there is just better. But a lot of those games, if you want to play PlayStation games, but you want to wait, you have to wait a year, year and a half, and you're fine with that. There you go. But
Yeah.
like for people like us, where like we play those games, like I always talk about Game Pass. I save money on Game Pass because there's so many games that I would have paid for, and I would have bought anyways with full price $70
Well,
that
yeah,
just come out
plus,
on
the
there.
option, even though, yeah, exactly. And like for Game Pass, you can just pay monthly, like about that 15 to maybe 17 or so, like that.
17, or you can buy 3 months for if you want a
Yeah.
deal. You can buy 3 months for 45. So for $180 a year, you can get Game Pass. So $20 more than Ultimate, and you
So my
get
question is, does Sony do like the same thing in terms of paying monthly in
they
terms
do
of
have
that
a
stuff?
monthly option. I don't have the price. I don't know if they even actually announced prices on hand.
Huh.
Um,
That's weird.
but normally it's ten
Okay.
dollars for Essential was $10 a month beforehand, or
Yeah.
you could do a year for 60. I don't know what the new price point will be. On top of that, probably like $12 or something like that. I wouldn't be shocked if like premium is like 18. Uh,
Right.
because Game Pass was already it was premium was 17 before, um, and then Game Pass went up to 17 to match that option. So I
Yes.
imagine it's gonna be 18, 19, maybe 20 for premium. Um, on top of that, and I believe it was 15 for essential or 13, something like that beforehand. So maybe add a couple bucks more there. But yeah, like I said, there's no like I said, there's no solution here to this.
No.
This isn't like as egregious of like remember a couple years ago Xbox tried to double the price of gold to 60 to
Yeah.
120 and everybody lost their shit, and they like the very next day they're like, hey, we hear you, we fucked up, we're not doing it. It's like I guess kudos to them in a way to like, hey, you listen and you turn it around, but also still kind of shitty of you to try that. And we saw this just a couple years ago with PlayStation where they tried to take they told everybody, hey, Gran Turismo and Horizon stuff like that. And a few other games are like you can if you buy it on PS4 you can upgrade for free to PS5, and then they try to go back on that, and everybody flipped the lid, and they went back. Okay, well this, but after this, now you got to pay the $10 upgrade fee. Um,
Oh, brother.
so I don't know if it's as egregious as that. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think they care. And when you're when you're the dominant company out there, when as far as like I'm not comparing Nintendo here, just like PlayStation, Xbox, they're competing with each other, And when
Mm.
you're selling 2 to 1 on the Xbox, you can do this. So, and like I said, nowadays, like you can't not have PlayStation Plus unless you're literally just playing Fortnite and Modern Warfare and not talking to people on party chat. You can't not have it to do anything on the service. So basically, this was just like it's the whole bitching uh, thing. But God, I think we needed it. It's very frustrating, and
Yeah, absolutely.
think
Well
we
warranted.
yes, they deserve it. So let's get into this. I talked about this just a couple minutes ago, but the July Circana report, formerly known as the NPDs. This is the top 20 selling games uh, based off money earned, not individual sales. This is for July. Um, so this came out last week, but I delayed it because we had a bunch of other shit to talk about. Um, so let's just jump into this top 20 last year, Gables. So, um, oh wow, I looked at this a couple weeks ago and I haven't looked at it since. I forgot some of these sales. Like, oh wow, really? Okay. So number 20, Gables, jumping in from 28 the previous month.
Hmm.
Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
Black Ops 3.
Yeah, that was
That's
on.
a PS4 game,
That
dude.
was like 2015. I want to say maybe. Yeah, 2015,
Huh.
2016. Yeah, very weird. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, number 19 here, still holding strong. Dead Island 2.
okay.
Um, number 18, Marvel Spider-Man. Number
All
17,
right.
Miles Morales. Number 16,
Okay.
brand new game from Capcom, Exo Primal, brand new in July. So you gotta look at that.
Okay.
So
All
this
right.
is
Makes sense.
yeah. Number 15, FIFA 23. Number
Yeah.
14, the old faithful here, Minecraft. Number 13, jumping all the way up from 83 the previous month, Gables. Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Dude, dude, this has to be because of
The
Activision,
servers.
like Microsoft reviving the servers,
Yeah.
dude. Because you're not gonna have multiple, like older, like more Call of Duty games going into the top 20 of games sold
What?
unless something vital happened. And I just remembered that Microsoft actually fixed a lot of the server. Like a lot of the server issues for some of those older COD games,
Yeah.
including the 360 games.
What's crazy though, Gables, is that Black Ops 3 went from 28 to 20. Black
Uh-huh.
Ops 2 went from 83 to 13.
Yeah.
So like they were still selling fairly well before that. So it's just goddamn.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of Old Faithful here, number 12, Mario Kart 8.
Mhm.
Moving on to number 11 here, Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Right?
Number 10, it'll be the show 23.
Okay.
Number 9, actually jumping up from 16 into the top 10 again, Elden Ring.
Oh.
Number 8,
Oh, okay.
yeah, pretty crazy there. Imagine it must have been a sale or something. Usually this kind of stuff happens because of sales.
Yeah.
Or it could be Armored Core as well. Sometimes like we see like the Spider-Man games jumping in the top 20 here, probably because of the new one coming out.
Yep.
Um, number 8, Street Fighter 6.
Okay.
Number 7, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Number 6, brand new Nintendo game came out in July. Gables, what was it?
Pikmin 4.
You're goddamn right. Number 5, Final Fantasy 16. Number 4, Hogwarts Legacy. Number 3, oh okay, I had to read the parentheses there. Modern Warfare 2. I thought it was the original one. It's the remake, the one from last year. I was like,
If that
I'm
were
like,
the
what?
original one, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, I read the title and then I saw the parentheses here for 2022. I'm like, oh okay. And number 2, Gables, Diablo 4.
Okay.
Number 1, pretty shocking here, Gables. Game that kind of came out and was actually pretty big, and then immediately was destroyed by Baldur's Gate 3. Remnant 2.
That's right. Remnant 2 did come out in July, and people were really enjoying and playing that at launch too.
Yeah,
And then completely, like you
it's
just
like a
said,
week and a half
completely
later.
got absolutely buried by Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
Gee.
yeah. So pretty. This is maybe one of the weirdest months ever for us. We got just 2 random Black Ops games jumping in the top 20. Um,
Mm.
Remnant 2 being number 1 is maybe the weirdest since what was that? What's that fucking Warner Brothers fighting game?
Warner Brothers fighting game like
Multiverses.
Multiverses.
That was
Yes,
number two at launch, even though it was a free to play game. But everybody bought the Founders Pack.
yes,
It
they
ended up being
did.
number two at launch. That was maybe the strangest thing since. But like, no disrespect for Remnant 2 here. I figured that game would be on the top 20. I figured maybe like teens to like
Hmm.
bottom of the top 10. Um, Not number one though. But I sold Pikmin 4.
That's not surprising, though. I mean, I guess people are really craving a third-person shooter, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's first person. I can't remember, but that's that. Yeah, that's that Dark Souls like first like shooter game. So,
Yeah, I've heard it's
um,
actually fairly decent.
yeah, everybody loved. I heard like really good things about the first one, but then the second one just sounds like it's like they really improved upon it. So good for them for that. But it just kind of sucks that like, I mean, it's basically been the way things have been this year, but especially the last like 2 months, where a big game comes out and it's immediately overshadowed by the next big game that comes out. We were literally just having this conversation last week where there's like a half dozen pretty big games that come out in the last like 2 weeks,
It's
and
pretty
they
much been like a gigantic wave of content in terms of game after game after game that is interesting, that has done well, and that a lot of them are fairly interesting. And it's been extremely hard just to keep up and actually play some of these games, especially if your real life is freaking busy as hell.
yeah, yeah. It's like times like these where it's like I wish I worked in the actual video game industry. Like, and like I'm not like I know they have hard jobs and they deal with a lot of bullshit. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that, but like, man, it's like sometimes it's like just getting these games early would be nice. Like,
Oh
like
my god.
I
Not
don't know.
just
Like if I could just
early,
get
but
like
like, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. If I could have just got Starfield like 2 weeks ago, and it's
Oh,
like I
like
don't
at
have
the
to like
time everyone else is like reviewing
yeah,
it.
it's like if I could have got that like 2 weeks ago and like I don't have to worry about the fact that like in like 2 weeks Mortal Kombat's coming out,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and then 2 weeks after
MK.
that Assassin's Creed's coming out, and
Yep.
then 3 days later Forza's coming out, and then 5 days later Spider-Man and Mario's coming out, and then a week later Alan Wake 2 is coming out,
It's gonna
and
be like
then
another 5 years before you catch up on this year's game releases.
yeah, I don't know. Gables, we might have to delay the game of the year conversation till 2028 so I can play all the games. Uh, you're right. Yeah, so pretty cool little list here. One of the most eclectic lists so far, but yeah, pretty fun little list there. I always enjoy it. I like I said earlier, I like doing these. Like I like reading through these. It's like one of my favorite things to look at every month for gaming. It just kind of like gives you like kind of takes like I said takes you out a little bit of that bubble sometimes. Where like it reminds you that Twitter's not the real world kind of thing. Like
Exactly.
so yeah, very fun little list there. Pretty shocking. But let's move with some other news this week, Gables. This one, take it with a grain of salt here. This came from the Snitch, but Gables, you, the Snitch, the Twitter account, kind of blew up
Yeah.
last year. Last
Yeah.
year, I didn't realize this, but it's a different Snitch now. That took over the account, and he's still leaked some stuff, but he's not like I unfollowed him a while ago because he started like promoting other stuff. Like I don't know, like but basically someone bought the account and like they're leaking stuff, but it's like different, and they don't do it very often. They mostly just tweet about like shit they're doing for money, but they did leak or announce that there is God of War Ragnarok DLC uh,
Hmm.
coming of some sort. Uh, Not it's in the well into development, but it's probably coming next year. No idea what it's gonna be about. There was a job listing from Santa Monica Studios about um, like talking about like some of the stuff that was required is knowledge of God of War. So very obviously they're working on something God of War related. Um, and no idea if this is like like a smaller thing or it could be like it could very well be kind of like an expand alone and like the way we had like Uncharted Lost Legacy or Miles Morales.
Right.
So kind of keep an eye out for that. So that is going on there. Um, PlayStation Portable is coming November 15th. Oh yeah, PlayStation Portable is now called the PlayStation Portable. We didn't talk about this last week.
They're
Uh,
calling it the PlayStation Portable.
yes, the PSP lives, Gables, in the year of our Lord 2023. It's
God.
what is old is new again. It is $200 and it's coming November 15th. Um, yeah, I guess for me, like I had no faith in PlayStation because like they've been charging premium prices for their stuff for a while now. Um,
Right. Right.
and like we just talked about PS Plus, they can get away with it, so they do it. Uh, and I thought 150 was like the perfect price, but I was like expecting like 300 the 250 for like 200, 250 to 300 for this. So
Uh-huh.
I guess 200 is like the high end of what I would consider acceptable for what this thing is. It's a like it's just like a stream. It's for streaming games. It's not for actually like you can't download anything onto it's a streaming service or streaming
Right.
device. I don't know. Like this is like one of the things where it's definitely not for us. Uh, there's definitely people I know and like and I could see why this thing would be very valuable to them. It's kind of like I see it. They see like what the Switch is, and it gives people like that for PlayStation.
Right.
But I don't. This is not something for us. But I don't know. Like I don't think this thing's gonna be like. I don't think this thing's gonna sell like 3 to 4 million units. But like I can see it selling a couple million units. It's probably them that's acceptable. Like I think that's probably what they're counting on. What about you, Gibbs?
I think this is going to sit, and not just sit. I think that it's going to be a product that is going to be highly forgettable. And quite honestly, even though it's not maybe aimed for you or I and stuff, because we're more well, I know I was in terms of expecting a handheld from Sony to be something a little bit more substantial than just a streaming device that's lacking of certain features, including apparently Bluetooth stuff. But it just seems like a horrible product to me. I mean, granted, yeah, its main purpose is to stream PS5 games and stuff like that, but because of that, it's mainly only like designated to like maybe specifically portions of the house for your close to the actual PS5 system itself. I mean, granted, even with like the Switch, for example, at least I can go forth and like have games downloaded on the device. If I play them, that's fine. If I take it with me or something like that, and play games on that without any type of online connection, I can still do that. But calling it the PlayStation Portable, even when the PlayStation Portable does exist and is definitely and is definitely much more memorable than this piece of fucking garbage. I think is
Mm,
such a stupid. It's just it's like a fucking stupid name in general, dude. It's like I understand why they initially wanted to do it because okay, this is like a refresh of this and that and stuff like that, but I just do not. Absolutely not.
yeah, I guess I disagree a little bit. Where like they're not marketing this as like a Switch competitor. This is like
Right. I
there's
understand
this
that.
like they've
Yes.
marketed this from the very beginning. This is a cloud streaming thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, like so yeah, like no, that's why I think that the 200 is like the max of where this thing should be priced at. Like if it was like if you can download the game, it was almost like a Steam Deck. You can download things on it, and it was $300. Like that would be understandable to me. I can justify $300 for this thing, um, for that. But like I said, 200 is like the high end of where I would consider acceptable, probably. Um, and I don't think this like I said, I don't think they expect this thing to sell like 20 million units or 10 million units. Like I said, I think this thing will probably sell a couple million, and to them that'll probably be a success. Um, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see kind of how it works out. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I don't know what they consider as success for this thing, and like this is definitely we are not the target audience for this thing. But
Probably 500,000.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Next up here, apparently developers were able to play a Switch 2 at Gamescom.
Okay.
So nothing more to add to that really right now. But yeah, apparently that was a thing where we talked about what Nintendo was like hyping up the fact they were at Gamescom for the first time in 4 years, and then we just didn't hear anything from them at all at Gamescom. So
Yeah, it's not really too surprising to me. I mean, we all know that they're coming out with another system sooner or later. They just haven't announced it yet. But it doesn't surprise me because this is what game companies do. If they have like prototypes of systems and stuff, and you want to see like certain games being showcased on a device, I mean, this is what companies do. They invite like people from the like maybe the press or something like that, or people inside the gaming industry in general, is to try out their games and their new systems or whatever and stuff. So just hearing rumors and rumblings of that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, it just makes me kind of interested in like knowing what exactly this device will be. That's
yeah,
it.
so we have potentially some details here.
All right.
Central Links, who has been a pretty reliable leaker in the past, they mostly on the Pokemon side of things. They had some details here. Yeah, I'm not 100% here. Obviously, take this with a
Yeah,
grain of
yeah,
salt.
they're usually like
Um,
half and half.
yeah, but they did have some details here that apparently Switch 2 dev kits have been out for a little while now.
Hmm.
We've heard some stuff about like Mercury Steam, the people that make the Metroid games.
Yes,
They've had
yes.
one for a while now. Sounds like more the in-house people have had theirs uh, for a while now, and now
Yes.
it's starting to get out to the like, actual like partners. Um, but dev kits are out there. Apparently, it is backwards compatible. There will be a new cartridge format, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's different. Apparently, technically, the DS and 3DS had different cartridges formats, but
Yes.
obviously the
Yes, they did.
3DS was backwards compatible. So that doesn't mean anything. But it could be the fact that like, as games are getting bigger, we need bigger, those because those
We need bigger cards.
the cards that are we currently have on the Switch are 16, and I
Hmm.
believe only two games have used the 32 gigabyte one.
Yep.
So now the expectation is now we want bigger games on these things. So
50 gig
they'll
cards.
yeah. So um, there'll apparently be there is a camera feature on the dev kits, which obviously doesn't mean anything. Could go away. Like we've heard about this before, where like things change from the dev kit to the actual release sometimes. But there is a camera on the current dev kit, and apparently,
Okay.
uh, Final Fantasy VII remake uh, is looks and runs like the PS5 version on the Switch 2 dev kit.
Oh,
Um,
that's a big claim.
yeah,
Okay.
so it said port took no time. I'm told could be a launch game. Not sure. So, which Final Fantasy VII Remake was not a PS5 game. It was it's a
No.
PS4 game that was up-res to PS5. So, don't take that to like PS5 games will be coming to this thing and look like PS5 games. But obviously, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. That's what we have right now for information. Um, I'm not gonna do that every time there's leaks rumors, but Central, like I said,
Ah.
Central Link is a somewhat reliable source. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. Apparently, there'll be a state of play soon. This comes from Jeff Grubb, and they said that potentially the PS Plus price increase could have something to do with that. Like they're announcing this now, and then they'll have something at the state of play that will maybe counteract. Like maybe they're going to announce something to make it more worth our while. So
Oh, hey. That'd be interesting.
yeah, you think normally you want to announce that shit with the bad news, but we'll wait and see.
Yep.
Um, Next up here, Gunbrella got a release date, September 13th.
Yep.
My Fantasy Cricket League is ruined, both of them. Uh, Also on September 13th, Nate the Hate and a couple other people have mentioned that it sounds like a Nintendo Direct will be happening on September 13th. So there's been some like
Huh.
we talked about. There's been rumors about about a Nintendo Direct happening. In September. We had the direct from about Super Mario Wonder. I know technically it was August 31st,
Yes.
but in Japan it's the first. So people were wondering if that was what it was. There could be another direct as soon as next week. Um, Next up here, Final Fantasy 16 will be. They're working on. They announced yesterday that there'll be a PC port, and they're working on two different DLC expansions for it. So
Hmm.
pretty cool news there. I'm excited for that to see
Okay.
kind of what they do with that. And then last but not least, sadly here, Volition, creators of the Saints Row games, was announced that they are shutting down permanently. Everybody will be losing their jobs. The most fucked up part was they literally announced it 5 minutes after the Starfield uh, reviews dropped. So
Oof. Oof. Yeah, that does suck.
mm,
With Volition and stuff, I mean, yeah, best known for Saints Row and stuff, but all I can think about is like certain positive stuff for Volition and stuff, especially with Saints Row the Third and stuff, and like
yeah,
Saints Row 4 to some
awesome.
extent, But
Yeah,
yeah, unfortunately, with the reboot for Saints Row and stuff that came out last year and stuff, yeah, it just did not hit at all, and it was just completely a dud. And what's hilarious more about this is like that's the PlayStation Plus game of the month that's going to be coming next. Actually, was it this month?
yeah. Next month, yeah, it's coming out. We should be getting it on Tuesday.
That's just sad.
Yeah,
But at the same point, it's like I'm sad that people at Volition are going to be losing their jobs or being migrated elsewhere or something within like the
Embracer.
parent company and stuff and Embracer Group and stuff. But at the same time, it's like they've had opportunities to create better games in regards to that after like Saints Row the Third, Saints Row 4, and stuff like that. But like there was that game that was like
Agents of
Mayhem or something
Mayhem.
like Agents of Mayhem, the
Yeah,
flat, and then this complete. reboot of Saints Row was just completely a dud in terms of not just the game itself, in terms of the graphical fidelity, the gameplay stuff, the structure, everything, but even from how the game ran and how the game like was presented for that, it was just completely like it just completely like just upset a hell of a lot of people to the extent where not a lot of people wanted to buy the game.
Well,
And
it sold multiple millions of copies, so it wasn't
yeah,
even. It like what's crazy is like, we always read the Nintendo sales, and I always talk about like you can't base other companies, other games off that. Like that's like that's like Barry Bonds, 2000 levels. Like they're just like on a massive amounts of steroids. Where the Nintendo how they're selling games right now, where like um I don't know, like most games, very few games sell millions of copies, a million copies, let alone multiple millions of copies. And the fact that like that game came out and immediately was like a multi-million seller for a double A game, and Embracer Group came out and said it was a disappointment, blows my mind. Even with Dead Island 2, Dead Island 2 immediately sold 2 million copies in the first week it was out for sale. Dead Island 2, a game that's been in development hell for a decade, and we all
yeah,
thought would be trash. It came out as actually a pretty good game, and they said that was disappointment. I'm like, this is like Square Enix levels of like mismanagement from them. Of like, what the fuck are you expecting these games to do?
how
That
much they
like,
spend on the process for each of these games in order to
yeah,
warrant it to that extent.
or like, are you just like expecting them to like, even if like they don't have these AAA budgets, but like they're expecting them to like, are you expecting them to sell 10 million units to like pay for everything else?
Yeah, no
Uh,
shit.
like either you're giving these games way too much money, or or you're expecting these like you just have unrealistic expectations, kind of
Absolutely.
like the issue with like Square Enix Forever with like their American studios, where like Guardians of the Galaxy sells like a few million copies immediately and it loses money, or Tomb Raider sold 7 million units, the reboot, and it was considered a disappointment. They laid off a bunch of people. It's like shit like
Yeah.
that. It's like I don't I think the biggest issue was like this is more of a Embracer Group thing, but it's like you brought back THQ with Nordic, and like you didn't learn any of the lessons of THQ Nordic, where it's like you're making like all these games, like the budgets now for video games are bigger than ever, but like you're making these games what maybe a AAA budget, but they're AA games on a AAA budget. Like, you gotta I don't know, like you gotta find a lane here. Like, you want to be THQ, which was known for making good, solid AA games. They
Yes.
weren't Game of the Year contenders. They weren't going to sell 20 million units. They were like they had a good lane where they're good, solid 7.5, 7 out of 10s. Maybe you get a winner that's an 8 out of 10. You have some clunkers every now and again, but like you didn't learn. You bought the studio that was best known for AA games, but you didn't learn any of the things they did that caused them to go out of business in the first place. So and then like, obviously we talked about last week where we found out like they had a $2 billion investment that they lost the last minute, and kind of find out it was Saudi Arabia. And it's like, I'm sorry, you're counting on Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia to bail your fucking ass out. I don't know. Maybe you fucked up somewhere. And it's all like I said this a while ago about Embracer Group. This is a very old South Park joke from like season like fucking 3 or 4. They are the underpants gnomes of the video game business world, where people know there's a meme of the underpants gnomes. What they would do is they would steal underwear, and they like remember one of the kids asked, I think it was Tweak, asked like he found the underpants gnome. He's like, why are you stealing the underwear? What's the plan here? And they had like a little chart, and it said step 1, steal underwear. Step 2 was blank. Step 3, profit. This is Embracer Group is the underpants gnomes of the video game business world. They just step 1, buy every fucking studio that's just a run of the mill studio. Step 2, step 3, profit. And it's just they're just in this world like we're gonna buy a lot of these AA. No disrespect to any of them. We're gonna buy all these smaller studios, all these AA studios. We're gonna pay way too much money for them. And hey, we're gonna shit out remasters of these franchises that have been dead and buried for decades. We're gonna half-ass them. I'm not talking much about the people working directly on the games, the developers. I'm talking about Embracer. They're just half-assing these remasters with like fucking what's the alien game? Destroy All Humans. We're just gonna throw out a remaster
Yes.
of that. these remakes of these like games from the 90s and 2000s that are just mediocre. They were just like they were fun for the time, and hey, cool, you guys like that? Some people like or like the SpongeBob game. They remastered like a GameCube SpongeBob game,
Yep.
and it had all the same fucking bugs and it was broken. It was a bad SpongeBob game from the GameCube era, and they remastered it, put it on modern day consoles, and it
And
had
they
all
botched
the
the
same
port.
bugs and issues that the original game did. And then they made a new one. I don't
Mm.
know. I don't understand what they're doing. Um, I never did, but now it's like now but I'm like okay, well they know better than I do because they're buying all these studios. They must have a plan. And no, they just didn't have a plan. They just like we're gonna keep getting investors to invest in us, and we're just gonna keep buying shit, and eventually something will work out. And they're just going the same way as THQ Nordic, or THQ initially did. All they gotta do is do a Wii U knockoff and go out of business. Um, but let's move on, Gables. I've ranted
Yes.
enough today. I have to pee really bad, Gables. So I want you telling me, tell me about Armored Core, buddy.
All right. So yeah, that's one of the games I've been playing this week, Armor Core 6. So I just started this game tonight. I've been playing it for like at least about a good solid like hour, I want to say. But let me tell you something. This game actually plays pretty fucking good. And not to the extent to where it's like kind of like a generic sort of like action game or something like that, but you have a lot of depth in terms of how you can customize like the look of your robot. You definitely have a lot of like variations to where you could make certain like logos, certain symbols or something to just decorate your robot. Like say if you want to create a symbol of say like our podcast or something like that, our podcast logo and stuff, you can actually go forth and do that inside of like an editor. Then you can just paste it on the robot and stuff and just have the different colors and all this other stuff. But other than the looks, though, the gameplay, like I said, it's pretty awesome. It's fluid. There is a lot of various movement. You actually got a good control of your mech. 621, I think it was, or 614. I'm still trying to remember a lot of the names and the codes and all this other stuff. But yeah, what I like the most about it so far is yes, this is basically sort of like a robot version of like Dark Souls or something like that. But at the same time, though, it is definitely fun to the extent where you still are going to be facing off against hard enemies, but the ease of use of where you can explore it feels a lot more. What's the word for it? A lot more like open in terms of where you can go, what you can do, and stuff. I know generally right now I'm still in that mission structure things where I'm still trying to learn all the different types of like controls, still trying to learn what type of upgrades are going to go forth and improve my mech to some extent. But before I even get to that and stuff, I had to go forth and earn a license and stuff by getting one of like the dead pilots and stuff license that were already there upon the planet Rubicon. But the first initial big boss battle of this game was against like a heavy weapon like chopper. And what's kind of interesting, it kind of reminds me of the freaking Hind D sort of fight from Metal Gear Solid, but even a little bit more freeing than that. I mean,
Hind
at least in
D.
that battle, at least in that battle with Hind D and stuff, it's kind of a little bit more awkward and stuff with Snake and stuff trying to shoot at the damn copter, trying to get all this other shit. But dude, it was fast, it was intense. It was definitely one of those type of battles to where you have to be on your feet because here you have all these missiles and all of these like bullets and stuff that are just like shearing right past you and stuff. You're trying to dodge in the air. You're trying to go forth and get behind this helicopter and stuff in order to try to get some form of damage. What I like is there's an auto lock on function with your robot. So if you press R3 on your controller, you can actually go and lock on so you can just shoot your missiles and stuff or shoot like your bullets and it'll just follow instinctively through there, like the homing feature and everything. Instead of it being like a separate feature, they allow you to do that from the get go. It's so much easier to go and kill enemies that way. I mean, if I was doing it manually and stuff, I'd be missing all sorts of various shit. I wouldn't be able to time my shots right and stuff to try to get things going initially. But this one battle, I actually died about 3 or 4 times because I was trying to figure out the pattern of this boss while simultaneously not die after using all my med kits. At first I tried more of a kind of like an evasive sort of stealth route and stuff. Okay, let's hide behind some of these little buildings or some of these little towers or something like that, and then try to pot shot this thing. But no, no, the solution that I came up with is much more aggressive to where I immediately, as soon as that chopper came into view after I scanned the last robot like license ID and stuff, I shot a whole bunch of my missiles, shot a whole bunch of my bullets and stuff immediately, try to build up its stagger meter. That's the whole thing about this. It's like when you're facing off against the bosses in this game, much like other like Dark Souls S type of games, you can go forth and try to find a stagger point or like fill up a meter or something to where when you completely fill it up, it gets into a stun state. And then in this case and scenario with my robot, I had to hold down the X button, just fly up, and then with L2, I have this freaking energy sword or something like that where I can just slash and do a huge amount of damage to like an enemy and stuff. But yeah, you have like there's like four different types of weapons you can go forth and use. At this moment, I have like two. I have the gun, and I have like the sword and stuff. But L1 and R1 will actually have their own separate weapons when you earn them and when you find them on the field. But yeah, it was such an intense battle to where I basically took like about three or four type of sequences in order for me to get this copter pretty much down to hell to such an extent to where I finally was able to get it to like the final thing. I was like on my last repair kit and stuff like that. I just used that. My health is literally like about a couple hundred points before I get exploded again. And I take out that damn helicopter and I managed to go and like finally advance past the first initial mission of this game to go into a more open world sort of feel to it. But yeah, I'm loving the freedom of exploring the certain parts of the overworld so far. I love how simple the controls feel. In other type of mech type of games, they would overcomplicate things, or your robot wouldn't really feel all that fluid to move. It feels like I'm piloting like a freaking like say like a Gundam for like a robot from an anime or something like that, towards like the Gundams and stuff like that. They're easy to like to fly and this all other shit or something. But but yet, depending upon what pieces, they'll make them much more easier and much more like difficult to handle based on what you do with them. But yeah, the first initial impression was a good one. Combat was fun. The atmosphere, obviously, is like a post-apocalyptic thing where you're collecting various elements from Planet Rubicon and stuff to try to fuel whatever type of all these major corporations or something like that are trying to vie for the same type of energy and stuff. But yeah, the only kind of gripes I have that I do have so far and stuff, it's just, the atmosphere of it, the look of it, it's sort of kind of like, it kind of reminds me of sort of like gaming styles and stuff from back like in the mid two stuff to where, even though I get it's supposed to be a grungy sort of like looking and stuff like that, it's really like a lot of grays, a lot of, a lot of like, a lot of grays, a lot of blacks, and like a lot of that type of coloring schemes and stuff to where it just feels a much more dense and compressed and like depressing in some aspects of it. But yeah, so far, Armor Core 6 is pretty fun. But other than that, though, I did finish up the Pokemon trading card game on the NSO. So I managed to go forth and got to the final couple of trainers left and stuff. And it's kind of, the ending is sort of similar to that of like Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, to where you face the Elite Four and then you face off against the champion right after. But I actually went and yeah, I actually went and had two decks. I did the water stuff for the first trainer, and then the electric and fighting deck that I did. I basically just redid a lot of the monsters and a lot of the cards I got. Had like all these different types of like trainer cards that help me feel through my deck and like get the right cards that I need. Plus, I decreased the amount of Pokemon I had inside the deck in order to fit this type of routine. So I basically won this entire game by defeating like the three trainers in a row with just like this electric fighting deck and stuff, with Raichu being the one that was actually took out like the last remaining like the champion and stuff like that. I'm very surprised I didn't play this back in the day, because this is fun to play. This is awesome in regards to like old school like spin-off Pokemon games, and yeah, it was highly enjoyable. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week.
All right. Well, very cool, Gables. I've only been playing really one game this week. I've been
Yeah.
playing Starfield. Uh, just came out like Thursday night. Played for a little bit. Basically, just did the character creator and I played a little bit the first part of the mission. Then
Right.
really kind of dove in Friday night and then just been playing a bunch. I'm like 13 hours in now as of
Mm.
where we're at now on Saturday, on Sunday night. Um, and man, I I'm all over the place about this one, Gables. I have so many gripes, and I have so many awesome things to say about this game at the same time. Uh, and it's more like nothing like game breaking awful. Just
Yeah.
a lot of there's just like a million, not a million. There's just a bunch of like small annoyances in this game that
Mm.
frustrate me. But it's the best parts of this game can kind of help kind of over outdo that like the negatives of it. Um, you have questions or anything, Gables, feel free to ask. Um,
Okay, for one, does it play like a Bethesda game?
it feels like if instead of Fallout 4, we
Hmm.
got Starfield in 2015,
Oh, okay. So
but
basically, you
gorgeous.
probably let me guess. Are there glitches?
Actually, no. Um,
Okay.
let me rephrase that. Are there like little tiny things that happen every now and again? Yes,
Yeah.
but I would argue that they're not. They're more than like most big games that come out nowadays. Like
Right.
well polished ones. Obviously, they're like big ones that come out that are buggy and broken. But like, I would argue this is about on par with like a lot of big games that come out nowadays. I've had a couple issues where like my character at one point, I play mostly in first person, but like every now and again I accidentally hit the wrong button, and I can go to third person. And at one point, my character was stuck in this falling emotion when I was walking, and so he was like
Uh-huh.
doing this weird like he was like he I jumped and I was coming down, like I didn't really landed, so he was like doing this weird like my arms were on my side and like like, he's on his tippy toes and I was just floating across the ground. A couple times where like characters like walk in front of you like while you're talking to somebody,
Oh
um,
yeah.
or like just weird like I had one where like a person was walking on the stairs and like their feet were like kind of going through the ground, but but barely like I that's what I mean. Like not a lot of glitches. There's like the Bethesda jank isn't really there, honestly. Like I'm honestly still like this is actually a really well made game as far as
Oh,
like bugs go. Like yeah, you're gonna run into them. It's not perfect by any sense,
yes.
but there's no major issues. Like I haven't had any crashes. I haven't lost any progress so far. Knock on wood. I have been doing like I know I'm playing a Bethesda game, so I do a lot of hard saves. Like
Yes.
about once an hour, I jump like, oh, I probably should do a hard save just to be safe. Um, but yeah, like the game runs fairly well. There's some frame rate dips every now and again, but like it's usually when I'm running, like, I'm sprinting through like an area with a lot of shit going on, and I'll kind of
Right.
like chug for like a couple like a hiccup, and then it's fine. Like and like that's no worse than most games nowadays. Honestly, like I can't. There's no glaring issue so far. I'm not obviously. It's one of those things where miles will vary on that. Some people probably like we've both played the same game sometimes, and one of us has had like a, for the most part fine, and the other person's like dealing with a bunch of issues. It's one of those that just like I said, some people having issues, some people aren't. Um, but like a lot of my issues are just like little things where it's like um, we're in the 2300s. Gables and I we've been doing this podcast over Skype for over a decade now.
Yeah.
Um, and we can do this from 2,000 miles away. But in the year 2300, where they have uh, settled several hundreds of different planets across many different systems, but nobody can somehow. There's no such thing as like a Skype in that time. There's no like apparently people can't send fucking emails or there's no FaceTime. You have to go talk to everybody face to face, which is kind of annoying. When you like do when you want to progress when you finish a step in a level and like a mission, you can't just like call somebody and tell them or send an email or something. You have to go fly to that person and talk to that person face to face, which is kind of annoying. But I find that annoying in every game. Like I played Final Fantasy 16 earlier this year, and it was like really annoying where it's like I finished this thing like Cool. All right, go talk to this person. Oh, I need you to go talk to this person. So then I got to fast travel to this place, then walk over, talk to this person for a 30-second conversation. And then I gotta go back to that last person I gotta talk to. Like I found that
Yes.
annoying in Final Fantasy 16, and I can make the argument at least that like, well, it's a fantasy game. They don't have technology then, but like, I don't know. It's a fucking video game. Just let me send a goddamn let me just beat the thing without to go talk to the person about it, or I have to go like be the middleman and I go like, bounce back and forth. And like this is a futuristic game. Why the fuck do I have to go talk to somebody in person about every goddamn thing I do? Um, I spent a lot of time in the goddamn menus, which is really annoying. It's a lot of inventory management. I still do not like the encumbrance thing. Like I
Oh, okay. So
like
the encumbrance thing is still there.
oh yeah, and Gables I picked like you can pick like your like kind of like starting abilities and like your backstory, and each one has like
Hmm.
three different like you start off with already skill points in place for these for there's three, and I just pick long hauler because it starts off with a skill point for um, weightlifting or whatever. Like basically you can carry more right off the bat.
Yes.
So I did that, and I immediately maxed out that skill tree. I'm on level 12 I believe now, like 13 hours in. Um, and I immediately maxed out that ability. But also top of that, when you use a skill point to unlock a skill, you don't just get the skill. You have to complete a task to then get that skill. So
Oh.
like,
Oh, there you
um,
go.
if I like I okay, I want to increase my I want to do the weight thing. There's four different ranks for each skill to completely max it out. It's like cool. I want to do that. I want to do that. Well, you have to like for the first one to walk like 500 meters at 75% of your weight limit. So you have to run rather. So I was like
Oh.
just running around the main area, like the first area you go in to unlock that, and then I got to the next one. Now it's like 1,000, then it's 2,500, then it's 5,000. You want to like increase you want to use a skill point to increase your pistol damage. You have to kill 20
Oh.
people to unlock it. So like you have to just like use a skill point to like unlock the ability to get that ability. Um,
Okay, so this is kind of like a more evolved form of Oblivion to where you have to use your skills in order to try to increase your
but you
stats.
have to level up to then get a skill point to then get the option to do that.
Oh, that just sounds worse.
Yeah, so like it's kind of annoying in that like it's these like this isn't like a major issue for the I'm still having a great time with the game, but it's just like
It's annoying.
yeah, it's like I don't I just want the fucking skill. Just give me the guy. There's like different. I don't know. I got going forever about that. That's kind of annoying. And it's like it's like, even with like I maxed out my weightlifting for my character, and it's still nowhere near enough. I have my other character like fully maxed out, and like there's like workbenches where you can upgrade your spacesuit or your gear or your weapons, and like you have all these resources you carry they have to use to like upgrade your weapons, and like
Hmm.
I don't like they take up so much fucking weight of your character and so much room that like okay I'm just gonna leave them on the ship, but you have to have them on your person to use them at workbenches.
Hmm.
So that's kind of fucking. So I just don't even bother upgrading. I just my weapons. I just get whenever I get new better weapons. I just get rid of the old ones. Um,
Well, that's a shame.
yeah, like so I said, like the whole you have to talk to people in person is kind of annoying. Where it's like I gotta keep fast traveling. It is nice though. Like you don't have to go into your ship to then fast travel to an area. You can just like wherever you're at, like on a planet or on
Right.
a spaceship or whatever. You can just like go to the menu, click on your mission that you're doing, click set course, and it'll automatically set the course to you to get to that your mission, and you can just hit a button, fast travel there. There's a lot of you spend a lot of time. There's a lot of loading screens, but the loading screens are very fast, very like 5 seconds at most. So it's not like Fallout 4. My biggest issue that I fell off of after like 35 hours was I got so sick and tired of spending time like doing the whole dealing with the encumbrance thing and then going back and forth doing the shit. But their loading screens were legitimately like 60 to 90 seconds. I was like, I just don't want to play this game anymore. I got so frustrated with it. Um, but besides all those issues, I still love this game. I'm still loving this game
Huh.
so far. I'm having a great time with this game. I just like there's so many points in this game where I'm like, fuck. I just want like I just want to play the goddamn game. So that's my issue. It's like spend a lot of time in menus and like there's like the UI the menu stuff. It's just like it's so much. It's very overwhelming. They throw so much shit at you. I have a jetpack, Gables. I had no idea I had a jetpack until like 45 minutes ago in gameplay time. Um, but they give you a jetpack, and I was wearing one. The whole game I've been wearing one. I'm like, how the fuck do I use it? You have a jetpack, but you have to unlock the skill to use the jetpack,
Oh.
which is
Oh,
kind of annoying.
lovely.
Yeah. The only reason I found out I have a jetpack is because the character running around with me when I jumped down like a flight of stairs, started walking down it. I took like a mild amount of damage. So like this is why I have a jetpack. I'm like, I have a fucking jetpack. And I started doing some research. I'm like, oh, you have to like use the skill to. I'm like, well, anyways, um, but the game itself is fucking awesome. I don't like it's the talk like the characters like it looks beautiful like the colors, like you could definitely tell in certain areas certain characters they put more time and effort into others.
Right.
Where like main characters like you're gonna talk to a lot, you're gonna zoom in, you're gonna like go into like a talking animation with them with like they look really good. They're not like robotic, like they're a little tight, like it's not motion graphics like you would see like in like a lot of like like Star Wars Jedi games or like Last of Us. Like they're not like this is like all hand animated, but like that's better. Like the game, like the voice acting is really good. The story's pretty good. Um, Gables, I'm 13 hours in. I haven't done a single story mission. I something happened. I got arrested. I had
Yeah.
contraband. I got arrested, and it turned into me like I was like, okay, well you pay this gigantic fine, or you go undercover for us to go to the Crimson Fleet, which is like the pirates of of Starfield, and like you have to go like and take them down. And I went and going undercover. And Gables, I've basically spent the majority of my gameplay time like going down this mission of like I'm playing both sides right now with like the cops of this universe and the Crimson Fleet, and like I'm doing missions for the Crimson Fleet, but then also I'm like handing over evidence for them. And I'm assuming at a certain point I'm gonna have to pick a side. Uh, but I've spent legitimately like 6 7 hours on this mission. This is a side quest. I mean the main mission. This is a side quest. I fell into my lap, um, and the missions are awesome. They're pretty beefy at some points. There's a lot of main like huge like character development in some of these, um, and like the mission like there's a heist mission. You're on a cruise like a luxury cruiser, and you got like a heist going on there. I had to go into like this crazy planet that was like been abandoned for over 100 years, and like learn about what happened here. Um, just dealing with all that, and then like trying to collect evidence for these cops. I joined the vanguards, which I don't know what they're not really cops, but they're like you do like you like kind of like you help like almost like hired like illegal hired guns type of thing.
Okay.
Like you do like you help like protect people kind of thing. You go like different systems to help people. I spent a few hours on that like that whole like quest line for them. Um, like finding out what the fuck's going on. Like there's like these terramorphs, which is like these gigantic like creatures that just wipe out entire civilizations on the planets,
Oh.
and like
Okay.
going down this fucking line of quests for them, and yeah, I'm just having like a really good fucking time for the most part. Playing this game, it's just like little things that get in the way of me wanting to play. It's like my biggest complaint is like things getting in the way of me playing the game. But
Right.
other than that, like it's been a ton of fun. The space combat is really cool. The gameplay, the shooting is actually really good. I'm not gonna say
Oh.
it's not like Halo or Doom or Call of Duty, but I would say it's like Far Cry, like the Far
Oh,
Cry
okay.
game
It's
level. So
that
like
type of tier. Okay.
yeah, like a B plus type of like shooter. There's tons of different like weapons you can choose from. The only thing is there's a lot of different types of weapons and like ammo types. So I have no idea like like what like I can't keep track of like what ammo's for what. Um, but yeah, like this game is brilliant, and like I think this is definitely a game where like I'm someone that's like really Fallout 3 is like the one Bethesda game that I really loved. I played that, but that was because it was so different at the time. Like I played like 15, 20 hours of New Vegas. I played like about 25 hours of Skyrim, and kind of fell off. Um, Fallout 4, like I said, I put like 35 hours into it. And I just got tired of the loop. Didn't really care for the settlement stuff, and got frustrated overall with like I said, the encumbrance, the loading screens, all that kind of stuff was frustrating to me. And I'm like, who knows? Maybe a week from now, I'm 25 hours in, and the same thing happens to me. But like, um, I don't like I said, I haven't done a single fucking story. The only I did the story missions you have to do before you can leave the main planet.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing I did. And I would say for people, if you're playing like you jump in this game December 6th, when you get to the first like main planet, New Atlantis, just wander around the area. And like I was picking up so many side missions, just walking around, and like I was just dicking around, like just like doing a bunch of shit around on this planet. And like there's like the Vanguard missions I highly recommend doing because it actually like takes you to like a museum that like explains the backstory and the kind of the lore, the like not like the deep into the Duffy of the lore, but like the overall kind of what's going on, why we left Earth, what's going like what has happened, like different wars have
Right.
happened, stuff like that. Kind of explain the backstory of how we got to where we are now. I did go to Earth. I don't want to spoil it for
Oh
people.
wow.
That was kind of cool. I've been to Mars. I went to the moon. I went to like where the original moon landing was, which is pretty cool. The flag is still there, which is pretty sweet. I took a picture with that. Um, but yeah, I'm having a really good time with this game. Like I have, like I said, I have a lot of small complaints, and I don't think it's like I feel like if this game sours on me after a while, it's not like anything major. It's just like those kind of a death by a thousand cuts type of thing that could do it for me. But I don't feel like I'm anywhere near that right now. And like I said, we'll have to wait and see. But man, I don't. Whew, this game is good. It's definitely worth the wait for people. Um, yeah, like I said, if you're someone that just like loves playing Fallout 4 nowadays, like you're gonna love this game. If you're wanting more from them, kind of like I think how I was, maybe even Gables was, um, a little disappointed, but depending on how frustrated you got with some of the stuff from like you wanting more from Bethesda to evolve, yeah, a little disappointing, but I think your level like if that's like a no go for you, then it's a no go for you. But like I would say at least give it a shot. If you have an Xbox or a PC, and you have Game Pass, or if you even don't have Game Pass, just pay the $10 to just get it for a month and
Yeah.
fucking check it out. The game is great, and it's like, um, but like I said, this game I feel like it's gonna be like, the more hours you put into it, the more you can get out of. It's kind of like almost
Right.
like a Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild situation where the more you put into this game, the more you'll get out of it, type of thing. And I think that's gonna be the case for Starfield for people. So
Oh, fair enough.
yeah, that's all I've been playing. I'm playing a bunch the next 3 days. So yeah, I can't wait to get back into it. Luckily, there's no more really wrestling for the next couple days and no more fantasy drafts for
Yeah.
me. So I don't have to worry about anything getting in the goddamn way of Starfield.
I
So yeah,
know, dude.
but yeah, I think it's gonna wrap it up for everybody. I'll wrap it up for this week. So thanks everybody for watching, listening, wherever you're at, wherever you're listening and watching. So I appreciate it. Like I said, go to the description down below. Look for us on podcast services, Drunk Nerds. YouTube, go look for us there. Subscribe, like, 5-star reviews, shares, all that stuff. Really appreciate if you do that for us. I was host, I was Tyler.
I have been Colonel Gable. So until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Thank you, Gills.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.